Some of you may be watching this video and you feel like you are, or you're absolutely certain that you are below average in the looks department. And you're watching this video hoping that you're going to learn some incredible skills that's going to turn everything around. And you may do that because I'm going to be covering some really interesting things, some important things that unattractive guys need to know. But I'm not here to blow smoke up your ass. I'm not here to pretend like looks don't matter. I'm not here to pretend like dating wouldn't be easier if you were a tall, dark Adonis of a man, right? Life is always going to be easier if that were the case. So I'm not here to create a fairy tale. But on the flip side, you only need to go down to your local Coles or Woolworths or Walmart or whatever your local Aldi shopping center is, whatever country you're in, and have a look around and notice all the guys you see who are definitely below average in attractiveness who still manage to have a long-term partner with them and kids and a family and all the other things. Being unattractive isn't a sign to give up. It isn't a sign that women won't date you. It's a sign that it's going to be a little bit harder. It's a sign there are other things that you need to work on. And today I want to talk about, I think there's more complex issues around unattractive guys than just what they look like visually. And I want to address that today as well, some of the steps that the unattractive guys need to take to have the best chances possible in the dating game. So sit down, grab a coffee, start watching, and let's get started. Now, I've had a lot of different kinds of clients over the last 11 years. Some of those have been definitely unattractive guys. Some of those have been definitely attractive guys. A lot of men are amazed, and women actually, are amazed how many clients I've had who are well above average in the looks department and still really struggle with women. And why do I talk about these guys when this is about unattractive guys? I talk about this because a lot of unattractive guys will say to me, I can't get women in my life. It's because I'm unattractive, 100% because I'm unattractive. Not for any other reason. That's the reason. So there's nothing I can do. So I should just give up. And they by and large give up, and they assume that no woman's going to be interested in them. But the difficulty in making that stark assumption is that there are also attractive guys who can't get women, right? And then the unattractive guys will say, see, if that attractive guy isn't even good looking enough, then I'm screwed. But it's not like that. It's about there's something else going on. There is more to it than looks. There's a reason why an attractive guy sometimes can still not get women. And this is what I want to talk about. See, a lot of the cases, these attractive guys who I get were less attractive as kids or as teenagers, right? So this is an important thing because if you grow up feeling unattractive, if you grow up feeling unappealing and undesirable, that's going to have a really massive impact on the mindset that you have growing up. See, if you grow up as an unattractive child, life starts to unfold in a different way. Attractive children get more attention from adults, from teachers, from other children. From a very young age, we start to spot who is and isn't visually appealing. And you start to get more attention or less attention based on how good looking you are. You start to get more or less praised based on how good looking you are. And as you start to get into your early teens, you start to have differing experiences. So good looking children, boys will have some girls looking at them, noticing them, this kind of thing. They'll get validation. Unattractive children, teenagers will get the opposite. They'll start to feel a consistent, ongoing message that you aren't good enough. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. They'll start to get bombarded with it. Now, not every unattractive child gets this, but many, or I should say most guys do. They cop this kind of a reinforcement socially. And that forms what really I've come to understand as unattractive guy mentality. Which means that you assume people won't like you. You assume women won't be interested in you. You assume you've got nothing of value to offer in the dating pool because you've had these negative experiences growing up. And you come into adulthood and that pervades. Now, why I talk about this is because this is what's happening to a lot of good-looking guys I know who still struggle with women. They grew up as unattractive children. They grew into their manhood. So now they're good-looking guys. They still can't get women. Why? Because they've got unattractive guy mentality. And I believe that unattractive guy mentality is actually, it is at least half of the problem that unattractive guys are struggling with. Now, I want to make clear, I'm not saying unattractive guy mentality is something that you should feel bad about or ashamed about because every human being will have this if they have these negative experiences growing up. Some unattractive guys are lucky. They get really strongly reinforcing environments growing up, and that's lovely for them, and they won't struggle with this. That's why we Well, most of us also know guys who are less than average in attractiveness and still manage to do well with women, and yet they never learned any skill set, and that's often because they grew up in these nurturing environments. But the unattractive guy mentality is one where it's really, really hard to feel valuable, right? It's really hard to feel valid, and it's really hard to feel like you deserve anything, and you have a scarcity mentality. So anytime a woman gives you any attention, you tend to chase and cling. And that makes it really hard to be attractive. Even women who may have considered you, it makes it really hard to be attractive. So before I start getting into steps to change this for yourself, what kind of a change in results should you get? Some guys have done extremely well, right? Neil Strauss is a great example of this, of a definitely unattractive guy. Like, if you look up, I'll show you a photo of Neil Strauss before and after. Guys who started off definitely unattractive, grew up unattractive, and started to do epically well with women. I don't idolize Neil Strauss. I love the guy, actually. I just don't like him through the game. He's grown up a lot as a human being now, and I love him these days. He's a great guy. But yeah, if you look at the before and after, this is a guy who's gone from being super unconfident, unattractive guy mentality to a guy who's gone to being super confident with women. And you can do that. That's possible. But I don't think most of you are going to put in the years of hard work to do that. And I don't think you necessarily should. There are more important things in life than learning to be a player. But all of you can get to a point where you can meet women and go on dates. All of you can get to that point. And all of you can get to the point where some of those dates are going to like you and want to hang out with you. You can develop yourself to that point. I don't care what you've got going on with unattractiveness. I have met men who have no legs. I've met men who are super overweight. I've met men who have primordial dwarfism, I believe it's called. Little people, all different situations that probably you guys watching don't have, still do well with women, or still do, find a great partner, go on dates, have a healthy dating life, right? One where you feel like you deserve love and you feel like you deserve attention from a woman, you get to feel attractive to someone, right? You can all attain this, and this is what I'm shooting for. I'm not shooting to turn you all into players. I believe it's possible, but I think it's a lot of work. It's even much more work than for above average guys. So let's not go down that path. So what are some of the things that you need to do to change right now? One of them is you need to start working with what you've got visually. So I know a lot of guys, when you don't feel attractive, you stop dressing attractive, you stop behaving attractive, you stop, things happen. So what happens is you start to dress unattractive. You don't really do the most you can with what you wear. You don't stay well groomed. You don't you don't have your hair looked after well, cut regularly. Your beard, your everything else isn't groomed. You don't dress to impress. You don't stay healthy and fit. Now, I'm not suggesting you be a bodybuilder, but if you're overweight and then also complaining that you're unattractive, you know what I mean? That's work on that stuff, right? Get fit, get healthy, be in the best shape you can, so you be in the best position that you can be, as attractive as you can, because these things will still matter. The second thing is, because you don't have the genetic looks on your side, you need to start focusing on other attributes that women value in a man. So what can you bring to the table? What are some of the big highlights? And you've probably heard some of these before, but I've got to shove them down your throat because you've got to hear them. One of the big ones is humor. Being able to make a woman laugh is huge, right? It makes someone instantly more interesting. It makes women want to hang around you, women and men, if you've got a great sense of humor. And it's something that every human being can develop. Yes, some of us grew up in houses where there was humor around, some of us didn't, but it's something that you've got to learn to develop. And if you've got a great sense of humor, that's a big one. Now, as I say that, I know a lot of you watching are probably going to say, or some of you are going to say, wait up, I have a great sense of humor, and I have a whole world of female friends who like me as the funny friend. And yes, if that's all you've got, lots of women will still friend you. They'll want to be around you, but not sexually. I agree. And I never said that humor was the only thing. The next thing you need to do is you need to have banter. And why banter is important? Banter is teasing someone, but affectionately. And why banter is important is that if you listen to a guy and all he does is use humor, but there's no banter meaning teasing, there's no teasing part of that humor, there's no push. When you tease someone, even if affectionately, you're pushing them away. Why? Because you're insulting them, but in a nice way, not in a way that's meant to hurt, but you're pushing them away, and that makes them want to come back in, right? So it's a push-pull effect of I'm teasing you, and it's affectionate, so you're not offended, and this happens over and over again, and that creates this push-pull thing where you push her away, she pulls back in. You push her away, she pulls back in. And that is an important part of the experience. That I know a lot of guys, when there's a girl they really like, they stop doing that. They stop teasing. They're still funny, but they stop teasing. And that's a problem, because that will pull you right into the friend zone. Another area that is wide open to unattractive guys, because I tell you what, 90%, 95% of attractive guys I know never touch this area. And that is developing your masculine self. So really delving into the deep, dark side of your masculine personality. Because there is a huge reservoir of super sexy masculineness in every single man. I don't care how unattractive you are, you've always got access to that reservoir. And most attractive men never go there because A, they don't need to. B, attractive men tend not to work so hard on the self-development of their dark, deeper selves. They tend to focus more on the self-development of the most superficial self. So things like how much money they make, how good shape their body's in, that kind of stuff. But if you focus on your masculine edge, what's going to happen is women are going to start to respond to that. So you may not be visually appealing, but what's going to happen is women are going to start to feel their loins tingling around you regardless. And that is an effect that I've seen, and my partner's talked about it in the past with her own experiences with guys. She's like, I don't know what it is about this guy. He's not very attractive, but something about him just makes me go, "Rrr," right? and that is something that every man has access to. Now, how can you work on this stuff? I'd highly recommend grabbing a copy of The Way of the Superior Man is always a good place to start. Look into Jungian shadow work. I'd look for a men's work course in your area. I'd look for a men's group in your area. Men's groups are more common than men's work courses, but if you can find a men's work course, oh my God, do it. I did one in Australia and it absolutely changed my life. But yeah, start to get steeped in the masculine stuff because yeah, that's a big one. That's a huge one. And lastly, I think the last big thing that unattractive guys who feel unattractive need to work on is their boundaries. Because what happens is it's so easy to grow up. If you feel unattractive, it's so easy to have a scarcity mentality. And a scarcity mentality means that any woman, anything good that comes your way, you try to hold on to it and grab it, and you overextend and you overcommit, and you offer all this support and help and do all these things when it hasn't been earned, right? And that's a huge problem because that will push most women away. And so what you're doing is you're just reinforcing this negative space of, the few women who do pay attention to you, you push away very quickly. So yeah, you never get any results. So this is a big one of having those really strong boundaries, really focusing on what it means to have an abundance mentality, meaning, okay, I get it. You probably feel needy because you're not getting the attention that you're really craving. And I do understand that every guy has been in that position before. The important thing is to be able to behave in a way, even if you get support from friends, this is where a men's group can really help to guide you. How should I behave in this moment if I had abundance? You got to always be asking yourself that question, right? A girl asks you to do a thing for her, to help her out with a thing. How would I behave if I had 5 other dates lined up? Would I be okay with this behavior? Would I help her out? Would I tell her, sorry, I don't have time, but still let's catch up on Wednesday? What would you do, right? Or would you help out? Because that's still what you do, even if there were 5 other girls on the line. Always be asking yourself that question because that is much more attractive. Well, I think the important thing to say is the scarcity is unattractive and the abundance is how every man should be, right? It's the baseline of how you should be behaving. Now, as I said in the beginning, I don't want to sugarcoat this. This isn't about trying to turn every guy into a player. Although I do know a lot of guys, especially with the deep masculine work, who are absolutely killing it like this. They drive good-looking, the good-looking guys that struggle with women, they drive those guys insane because they look at these guys and they can see they're unattractive and yet women are just drawn to them. That dark masculine energy can be a big part of the ticket to getting great results. But I'm not trying to say this is going to be easy because it won't. But I need to make clear, just because you're unattractive, I don't care how unattractive you are, you can go out there and get on dates and meet women and have a healthy dating life, if not an excessive one, or not so easily an excessive one. I just want to make that clear. Another part to your, understanding your ability to attract women is understanding your personality as a man and the different facets of what makes you as a man. I've got an online dating personality test, which is totally free, and I recommend you check that out. What I do is I look at 16 different parts of your personality, 16 different spectra. And essentially what these tell you is what are your strengths with women, what are your weaknesses with women, what's most attractive about you, what's least attractive personality-wise, and how can you work on these areas, like what mindsets and What strategies can you develop to make yourself as attractive as a human being as possible, and also as successful a human being as possible? So I highly recommend you check that out. I'll throw a link up here and in the comments below. As always, guys, let me know your thoughts. If you have something else you'd like to add that you think unattractive guys really need to work on, let me know for sure. I'd love to hear about it. As always, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my video, and of course, check out some of my other videos. If you like this one, I reckon you might just like those as well. As always, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you in my future videos.